America had barely settled into another heated broadcast when the air shifted. The cameras were rolling, the lights were glaring, and Donald Trump was ready to dominate the stage. But in that instant, the one voice he never expected to collide with cut through the noise. Jasmine Crockett's. With a piercing clarity, she dropped a revelation that froze the room. Live on air, she exposed a secret deal Trump had tried to keep buried. The crowd gasped, the panel froze, and for the first time in a long while, Donald Trump's face betrayed something his supporters had never seen. Panic. His words stumbled, his tone cracked, and the meltdown began before millions of stunned viewers. This wasn't just another political clash. This was the moment that America would remember. The night when Trump's shield of bravado shattered under the weight of truth. The broadcast had been billed as just another primetime debate, but the lineup told a different story. On one side, Donald Trump, larger than life, confident as ever, leaning on his usual strategy of dominance and spectacle. On the other, Representative Jasmine Crockett, sharp, unflinching, and already known for cutting straight through political theater with brutal precision. The moderator expected fireworks, but not an explosion. The audience came for the usual clash of personalities, but what unfolded was unlike anything they had seen before. Millions were watching across the nation, supporters, critics, undecideds, all glued to their screens. Trump's allies filled the panel with practiced smiles, eager to defend his every word. But Crockett's presence shifted the balance from the start. She wasn't there to debate talking points. She was there to deliver something bigger. For weeks, whispers had circulated about Trump's secret deal, an agreement hidden behind layers of denials and deflections. No one had dared say it out loud. Until tonight. The stage was set. Trump braced behind his wall of bravado, Crockett steady with her evidence, the media ready to spin whichever way the wind blew. And in the middle, America, waiting to see which version of truth would stand when the cameras stopped rolling. The exchange started with the usual sparring. Trump raised his voice, tossing insults at the moderator, belittling his opponents, and painting himself as the victim of endless conspiracies. His base cheered from the sidelines, but Crockett did not flinch. She leaned forward, her tone steady. "Mr. Trump, you keep talking about witch hunts, but America deserves to know what deal you signed behind closed doors. A deal that sold out ordinary citizens while you padded your empire." Trump's face tightened. He shot back with a laugh that sounded more forced than confident. "Another hoax, another desperate attack. Jasmine, you don't know what you're talking about." But Crockett didn't stop. She pulled a document from her folder, holding it up for the cameras. "This isn't rumor, this isn't speculation, this is proof. A signed agreement with corporate lobbyists promising policy favors in exchange for millions funneled straight into your businesses. You told the American people you were working for them. This deal shows you were working for yourself." The studio erupted. Gasps, shouts, the moderator scrambling to restore order. Trump's allies interjected, calling it fake, calling it fabricated. But Crockett cut through their noise with a final blow. "Then explain your signature. Explain why your name is right here in black ink, binding you to a deal that betrays every promise you ever made. If this isn't yours, say it now. Live in front of the nation." Trump opened his mouth, but the words faltered. He muttered about enemies, about planted evidence, about unfair treatment. But for once, the attack bounced back. The tension rose with every passing second, and America could feel the unraveling in real time. The studio lights seemed harsher now. Every lens zoomed on Trump's face as his composure cracked. He slammed his hand on the table, his voice breaking into a shout. "This is a setup. You're all part of the same corrupt game trying to take me down." But Crockett didn't raise her voice. Instead, she lowered it, letting silence hang before delivering the words that would seal the night. "Donald, corruption isn't a game when the evidence is signed by your own hand. You told America you'd drain the swamp. What you did was sell it, and you were the highest bidder." The audience gasped again, but this time the reaction carried weight. The panelists stopped speaking over each other. Even the moderator froze, realizing the magnitude of the line. Trump's usual counterpunch wasn't landing. His voice, once thunderous, wavered between anger and desperation. Crockett pressed on, her final thrust merciless. "You can yell. You can call it fake. But the deal is real, the signature is real, and tonight the truth is too big for you to hide. America is watching, and no meltdown can erase the ink on that page. Trump tried to fire back, but his words tangled into fragments. The meltdown wasn't just visible, it was undeniable. His face red, his sentences incoherent, his fury spilling over into rambling accusations against the media, the moderator, even his own allies. The twist wasn't just Crockett's revelation. It was the sight of Trump, the master of dominating stages, stripped of his control, unraveling live before the nation. As the broadcast drew to a close, the weight of the moment settled in. Trump's meltdown was already trending across every platform, clips of his stumbling words and Crockett's sharp lines being replayed millions of times within minutes. The man who once thrived on commanding chaos was now consumed by it. Crockett ended with a steady, unwavering statement. The truth matters, leadership matters, and tonight proves that no one, not even a former president, is above accountability. America deserves better than secret deals and empty promises. America deserves the truth. The moderator, still shaken, tried to close with neutrality, but the damage was done. Trump sat visibly shaken, his usual smirk gone, his defenses fractured. Allies whispered excuses while opponents seized the moment, declaring it a turning point in the political landscape. Across the nation, households buzzed with disbelief. Supporters scrambled to defend him, but even they struggled to explain away what the cameras had captured, a man unraveling under the pressure of exposure. Critics, meanwhile, hailed Crockett's performance as fearless, a rare act of holding power accountable in real time. The media wasted no time framing it as a historic clash, not just another debate moment, but the night when Trump's aura of invincibility was pierced live on air. Commentators repeated Crockett's words, memes amplified them, and headlines cemented them in the public mind. And as the credits rolled, one truth lingered above all. This wasn't merely about one deal, one debate, or one night. It was about the power of truth to strip away illusion, to bring even the loudest voices crashing down. Trump had built his brand on never backing down, never cracking under pressure. But on this night, America saw the opposite, and once seen, it could never be unseen. The debate was over, but the storm had only just begun. Within minutes of the broadcast ending, news outlets across the country interrupted their programming to replay the confrontation. Clips of Trump's meltdown looped on every channel. Analysts dissected his broken sentences, his trembling voice, his inability to counter Crockett's evidence. Each replay magnified the sense that a curtain had been ripped away, exposing not just a man, but a myth. On social media, the reaction was explosive. Hashtags like #TrumpMeltdown and #CrockettExposesTruth trended simultaneously, filling timelines with fiery commentary. Supporters of Crockett celebrated her performance as nothing short of legendary. She stood her ground against the bully and won, one post read, shared millions of times. Memes captured Trump's stunned expression, turning a moment of weakness into an endless digital echo. Inside Trump's own circle, panic spread. Advisors rushed to spin the narrative, blaming hostile moderators, accusing networks of staging an ambush. Yet even loyal commentators struggled to defend what millions had seen with their own eyes. The meltdown was not a rumor, not a headline crafted by opponents, but a raw, unfiltered collapse in real time. Meanwhile, Crockett's profile skyrocketed. Overnight, she became a household name, praised for courage under fire. Interviews poured in from every major outlet. Editorials hailed her as a rising star who had managed to do what countless others failed to, hold Trump accountable without flinching. Her words, repeated on loop, took on a life of their own, quoted on late-night shows, in podcasts, and even in protests outside state houses. But the true shock lay in how deeply the revelation cut into America's political fabric. For years, Trump's critics claimed corruption, yet nothing ever seemed to stick. Now, with one signed deal held up in front of cameras, the cracks were undeniable. Voters who once shrugged off accusations began to question. Allies who always laughed off scandals now whispered about distance. His base still roared in defense, but even they struggled to explain why their champion looked broken under pressure. Internationally, the fallout was just as sharp. Foreign newspapers ran front-page stories describing the night Trump fell silent. Commentators abroad framed it as a symbol of shifting tides in American politics. Rivals in other nations seized the moment to question America's moral authority, pointing out that even its most dominant voices could be undone by exposure. In the days that followed, hearings were called. Lawmakers demanded investigations into the deal Crockett had revealed. Journalists dug deeper, uncovering more layers, more connections, more evidence that suggested this was not an isolated agreement, but part of a broader pattern. For Trump, the meltdown became a defining image, overshadowing his every attempt to reclaim control. Every rally, every interview, every press statement was haunted by that night. The night his voice cracked, his face reddened, and his power faltered live on air. And for Crockett, the moment marked a transformation. No longer just a sharp-tongued congresswoman, she emerged as a symbol of fearless truth-telling in a political landscape dominated by spectacle and deception. Her name became synonymous with accountability. The story refused to fade. It lingered in conversations at dinner tables, in classrooms, in workplaces. America had not just witnessed a political clash, it had seen a mask slip away. And once the mask was gone, the illusion could never return.